الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good morning Instagram fam, friends and followers of As-Safi, and welcome to another installment, another episode of our running series Revert Reflections. And this week we have been discussing, or we've been continuing our discussion of what sets Islam apart from other faiths. And this week in particular, we spoke about how Islam differs from other faiths in terms of viewing and observing in terms of viewing and observing festivals and holidays. And among the things that we learned this past week is what constitutes a holiday from the Islamic perspective. What are the conditions that, when present, make an occasion a holiday? We also learned the ruling of holidays generally is one of prohibition. And we also learned that that ruling applies to all holidays, whether religious or non-religious, except those specifically, expressly permitted and allowed by Allah or His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today, brothers and sisters, what I would like to do in the time that we have together is respond to a few common responses to these assertions. What do we typically hear in response when we say that Islam views or deems an occasion with these conditions as a holiday? It prohibits all holidays, and that prohibition applies to all holidays, whether religious or non-religious, except those expressly permitted by Allah and His Messenger. What type of responses and reaction do we get, and how should we respond? Even if perhaps we ourselves are internalizing or internally responding in this way, how should we respond to ourselves? So one common response, brothers and sisters, is, I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm not hurting anyone. And we respond to this response by saying, brothers and sisters, when it comes to Islam and our faith, we don't have to see anything wrong with something for it to be wrong. We simply have to know that Allah and His Messenger have disallowed it. And we know that Allah and His Messenger have disallowed non-Islamic holidays and those not explicitly permitted by Allah and His Messenger. We know this, we've studied this all this week, and we can be confident that this is not allowed. And the fact that we don't see why it's wrong, we don't see who we're hurting by doing it, does not change the ruling from an Islamic perspective. Another common response, brothers and sisters, another common response that we get, is many of these holidays contain meanings that we Muslims also believe in. So, for example, Muslims believe in being grateful and expressing gratitude, like what we have in Thanksgiving. And Muslims love Jesus and believe in Him, which is expressed in Christmas. And Muslims are ordered to honor and respect their parents, which is what we see being expressed in Mother's and Father's Day. So why can't Muslims celebrate these holidays, since they contain meanings that we Muslims also believe in? And we respond by saying, certainly our faith believes and encourages us to be grateful. Grateful to our Creator and grateful to members of creation who have favored us. And certainly in our religion, we believe in Jesus and we love Him dearly. And certainly in our faith, we believe in honoring and respecting our parents. But our faith has taught us how to express our thanks to Allah, our love for Jesus, and our respect and honor for our parents, etc. And because we are Muslims, underscore, that has to have a meaning. The fact that we are Muslims, underscore that word Muslims, that has to have a meaning. Because we are Muslims, we should express these feelings in an Islamic way instead of in the way of other faiths. One last common response to these assertions, brothers and sisters, is that when we make these holidays haram, we make them forbidden, we take the fun out of life and make people hate Islam. This is another common refrain that we hear from people in response to what we've talked about this week. And In response to this response, I'd like to say a few things. One, a person who hates Islam for forbidding un-Islamic beliefs and practices either never understood Islam in the first place or never loved Islam in the first place. It's not the fact that Islam forbids Thanksgiving that they hate Islam. They never understood Islam or loved it in the first place. Because if they really loved Islam, they're going to love Islam whether it allows something or permits it. Another point, brothers and sisters, is that Islam allows and even encourages having fun while defining acceptable forms and providing guidelines for fun. It's not that Islam is the no fun religion. It's just Islam tells us, hey, there are acceptable forms of fun and unacceptable forms of fun. Suffice yourselves, O Muslims, with the acceptable forms of fun. And Islam has basically said that Thanksgiving and Christmas and these other non-Muslim holidays are unacceptable forms of fun. Last but not least, from the responses to this refrain, brothers and sisters, is that for us, life should be about more than fun. It should be about more than the quality of life. We have to ask ourselves, we have to remind ourselves, why are we here? Are we here to foster a greater or better quality of life? Are we here to have fun? Or are we here to do something specific? Does our life have a specific purpose that we're supposed to fulfill? Well, if we are Muslims and we consult the Islamic sources, primarily the Quran, we find Allah answering the question by saying, وَمَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created jinn kind and mankind except to worship me. I have created man. I have created you, O Muslim, for a purpose. So we are here not for quality of life, but for purpose of life. And if that means, in order to fulfill that purpose, if that means not celebrating non-Muslim holidays, if that's what it's going to take for us to fulfill our purpose and to use this life to serve the purpose it was meant to serve, then so be it. That's if we're really sincere about doing the Muslim thing, doing it the right way. Brothers and sisters, as always, when we close on Fridays, we remind the brothers and sisters who are following, we remind them, or we ask them, we say, are you benefiting? Are you finding these talks educational? Are you finding them beneficial? Are you finding that you are learning things that you didn't know? Or being reminded of things that you have become negligent regarding? If this is the case, if you are benefiting in any way, there are probably other people out there who would likely benefit as you have. But these messages are not necessarily reaching them. They may not know that we're even doing this. And so we always ask the brothers and sisters to help us reach as many people as possible and help and benefit as many people as possible by sharing these talks, sharing this information with your colleagues and your contacts and people you know in other localities and other states, people who are friends with you on Facebook and friends with you on Instagram and followers of you on Instagram, etc. Please share the information and content so as many people as possible can benefit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all. Hada wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.